Welcome back at exactly 9 on the nose. Time for us to have our health conversation this Tuesday morning. Time for us to discuss matters yoga, and particularly yoga exercise for good health. That informs the center of our conversation, even as we try to navigate the International Yoga Day. And my guests are already here. I'm joined by Aseem Sharma to my immediate right, who is a yoga instructor. Right next to her is Dr. Seema Sharma, who is a yoga instructor as well as a trainer. She has been doing this for 25 years. In fact, is a mother-daughter duo. All right, and we shall also be joined by the little kids who will be actually performing the poses as at and your house, who will be doing the poses as you continue your pace with this conversation. But now let's just start with understanding the International Yoga Day. In fact, as you're having this conversation off here, we were saying that not quite a good number of Kenyans know that this day actually exists. Yeah. And it's being commemorated every 21st day of June every year. So I want Mom, Dr. Seema, to just help us understand, why do we have this International Yoga Day, particularly on the 21st of June?
Because it's the longest day of the year. 21st June is the longest day. So that's why they are selected this day to celebrate International Yoga Day. Yeah.
And so this was just set particularly 21st of June every other year. It's being commemorated in that way.
Yeah.
When did this start? Which year was it?
It started in the 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now it's the 8th International Yoga Day.
So this is the 8th International Yoga Day.
Yeah.
Aseem, when you look at it in terms of it being the 8th International Yoga Day, and we can really be just alive to the fact that as much as you're talking about it, not many people know that this day actually exists. When you track the progress of this kind of exercise 8 years later, how would you say in your own analysis this has been?
I think even after 8 years, you're right, not a lot of people are aware. Not just that, I feel like even this practice in itself, the yoga practice, has been there for centuries, and yet people have a lot of myths about it, a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions about the practice. And I think this International Yoga Day has allowed us to at least scratch the surface of it and like break it to people, like bust a lot of myths. But if you look at the awareness, I think it's spreading internationally, though here back home it's not that big a deal, just because there's so many misinterpretations or misconceptions about our practice.
I mean, when you say back home the awareness is not as par, well, in your perspective, what would you attribute this to? I mean, why would you say that there's still less awareness in terms of International Yoga Day in our country? Because we keep saying that this is one of the best exercises to do. You can do it even in the house.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is, it's for older people, or it's just for women, or it's just for, a particular sect. Maybe it's a religious practice. So all these things, I think, like I said, they're misunderstandings, misconceptions. Exactly. And I think that is why people can sometimes be reserved about walking into a yoga class or a yoga studio. Which is why with the International Yoga Day helps, because it's still being covered by international media and media here like you are. And I think that really contributes to keep pushing the door a bit more open and letting the light on the subject.
Okay, now let's just also try to understand which kind of exercise yoga is. And I want you, Dr. to just tell us, because you've been doing this for 25 years, training, instructing, and you train and instruct from, beginning from different ages, as toddlers, going up the different ages. So what kind of exercise is yoga?
When we are doing the yoga, so it's prevent and it cures the diseases. So it's work on your whole body workout, and it also work on all the organs of the body. So it cures and prevent. So every age group can do the yoga, maybe the old man and the youngster, and you also can do the body weights with your body. So everything you can, it increase the flexibility of your body, it prevent the diseases, it cure the diseases. So many benefits, increase the flexibility and concentrations, and it's also increase your memories and cures diseases like diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, arthritis. So it is very helpful in any age group.
All right, well said. Aseem, I just want you to push your hair back a bit, so we can actually hear what you you're telling us as you continue to describe for us what this kind of exercise is. So as Mom says that this is actually a disease that's able to cure, if I can say. It's an exercise that cuts across.
Right.
It's also good for our health, and even as we continue with the conversation, we'll be exploring that in a more detailed way.
Yes.
But again, when you look at the reception, as we said, hasn't really been as to par, particularly when it comes to Kenya. This is 8 years later, but even at that, not quite there yet in terms of even the reception and the awareness. So in your perspective, do you feel like this should be one of those exercises that also is introduced in schools? Because when we have the PE classes, perhaps, in primary schools, secondary schools, do we need to have this introduced in curriculum?
I think we do, because it's like Mom said, it's not just an exercise where you are, working on your mobility, or it's not just a muscular workout. It's also a practice that helps you, we hear benefits of meditation and breathing all the time. I'm sure you have read somewhere, if you're anxious, take 5 deep breaths or 3 deep breaths, or meditate. All these benefits can be introduced to kids at a very young age, especially for kids who come from different backgrounds, from broken homes, or who just have different disorders, which are we're probably not diagnosing or catching them early enough. So breathing exercises, meditations, even poses really help. We have done the same with kids from the slums, and we have always helped. We've always focused on channeling their energy in a more productive way, right? So they come to our classes and they end up doing very difficult poses, which are very energy exhausting, which is good for them because they take it like a game, and they try and show off to each other. Oh, I can do this. I can do a handstand. You can't. So that I think kids really enjoy it, and that's why we have kids here, just to show you that the benefits of yoga. And one thing I would like to add to what Mom said, which is. Yoga allows you to even challenge your genes. Sometimes you may have diabetes or asthma or hypertension running in your genes, right? And from a very young age, when you start doing yoga, you can actually challenge that, because we work from the root of the problem. We work on the organs, and that is a major benefit that we have seen people reap in our practice and teaching of it.
And right now, I just want us to cruise and at least see what the kids will be doing in terms of those poses. But before we get there, do we have different types of yoga, or yoga is just yoga?
We do have different types of yoga, and each type of yoga is geared towards your personal goal. If you want to expand spiritually, there's a particular yoga for that, or you want to expand in your meditation practice, we have Raj Yoga for that. If you want to practice and expand in different poses and advance in different series, I think Mom is more fit to answer that question. We have different types of yogas for that.
Like a heart yoga, so you are working on your body, and you can increase the flexibility with the heart yoga, and you cleansing the body internally, because there is the only method in the, I think, all over the pathies in the yoga, you can clean the body internally. There is no other method. So we clean the body with the Shat Karma from internally, and we clean the body. In other pathies, there is no cleanliness. Only we are suppressing the symptoms. So in this, we are removing the symptom, eliminate the doshas from the body. So which you create the diseases.
The cause of the disease.
Cause of the disease.
Okay, well said. All right, so then is there a specific form or type of yoga for a different demographic? For instance, like now we're having the kids here. Is there a specific one that they only can do as kids and perhaps grown-ups cannot? Is there one that grown-ups can and kids cannot?
No, it's like we start with the kids, with the beginners like that. Slowly we pick them, and then they have the flexibility because they don't have the bones, they have mostly the cartilage. So they can, they are physically flexible. So only they need the direction. So we give the direction, then they come do everything. And we start from the beginners, slowly, then they can pick. Yeah.
Well said. They are physically fit, they are flexible, you give direction, then they do it.
They have the energy.
Okay, how about you do that? Give direction, let them do something. Let them show us. All right.
Mom, you can direct them and then...
Okay, now please stand up.
So this is where it starts.
So yes, so International Yoga Day has its own protocol as well, protocol of exercises, which is very beginner, very basic. You know, you can be very safe to practice even at home as you see us. So you can practice with us right now. And this is the protocol that comes from Ministry of Ayurveda Yoga. It's called Ayush. It's called Ayush. It's an abbreviation for Ayurveda Yoga, Unani.
System.
So all of that. But here we are just going to show that protocol so that Kenyans can watch us and practice with us.
All right.
Yes.
So as they've stood up, does it start with a warm-up, or how exactly does it start?
Okay. It starts with the warm-up, and we do the Surya Namaskar. We do the only one round, but you can do 2 rounds, you can do the 108 rounds. It depends on your time, how much you have the time. So 108 Surya Namaskar take almost 1.5 hours. So do that one. But we are doing only one Surya Namaskar here. Okay?
Then let them show us.
They can show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now you see it. It's a warm-up exercise in yoga.
So this is just basically the warm-up?
Just basically warm-up. Nothing. It's a basically...
The way they are I mean, you really need to be flexible to do this?
Everyone can do it. It's dependent on, if you can't touch it, it's okay. You can do the half pose. There
are modifications for
there is
So you don't, a lot of people say what you've said, I'm not flexible, so I can't do yoga. And I say that's exactly why you need to do yoga.
Because what I understand is that actually a lot of this exercise, and yoga particularly, you know, your core needs to be at least there, you know, in terms of flexibility, because it entails that a lot. And so the way you're saying is basically what most would say, I'm not flexible enough, I'm not sure if my core can be able to handle this.
No, I disagree, because you know, if you're walking into a group class and it's a very intense and advanced class, and you're a beginner, then that's not the class for you, because I believe that you start from a basic level. You work with the body in front of you as an instructor, and I will gauge your mobility, your flexibility, and build from there. I will not try and say, okay, I can bring my foot to my head, you do it now in your first class. No, I'll say that a year later once I've built you enough, right? So even if you're at home thinking, oh, I can't go to a yoga class because I don't know if I'll be able to perform, I would say go to the class and ask your instructor for modifications of advanced poses. And in more often, instructors will tell you, okay, you can't do this, right? Start from the very basic level, and that's how we build the class. The exercises are the same for all age groups. We just give different levels of the exercise, different variations of the exercise depending on the body we are working with.
That's sorry. So this was just a warm-up. So from this stage, where do we go to? Or what are they supposed to do next?
I will tell you later on. First thing I want to add, because we are also teaching in the senior citizen in Aga Khan, so they can do on the chair. We are teaching on the chairs, those who can't sit down. So there is every possibility if you want to do it. So we depend upon the instructor. So step by step he will take you
You
on
mean
the
you can
upper
do yoga
level.
while you're seated?
Yes.
Yeah. Everything
That's
you can do it.
interesting.
I can teach 2 hours if you are sitting on the chair.
2 hours?
2 hours I
and
can
we can
teach.
do something here.
Yeah, on the chair.
All right, before we get there, I just want you now to show us what is next, because they've already done the warm-up. We've seen the various steps there. So
Yeah.
what next after the warm-up?
Next we are doing the neck exercise, which is in the protocol.
Okay.
So first inhale, then we go backward. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, go backward. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come in the center. Now move your chin on the shoulder. Then come in the center. Then on the other side. Then come in the center. Then on the other side. Then in the center. Then on other side. Now come in the center. Now the third exercise for the neck, drop your neck on the right side. Try to touch your ear with the shoulder. Then come in the center, then other side. Then in the center, then drop your head on the other side. Then in the center, then other side. Now come in the center, then give the rotation clockwise. First go to the right side, go backward, then come on the left side, come in front, then reverse. Do it slowly. Then come in the center, again go backward, then go backward, reverse. Now relax. Now see, this is a neck exercise, and the children always on the laptop, on the everyone now these days on the laptop, on the mobile. So everyone's suffering from the cervical spondylitis, and they have the problem in the nerves, and the arms are weaker due to the using always the touch mobile. Yeah, so you have to do the neck exercise. Maybe you repeat 3 times a week, 3 times a day, sorry, and after eating you can do it.
So this exercise, the neck one, basically aids and helps with it.
Yeah.
As you've mentioned, this is just for beginners, if you can see. How long does this particular exercise take from the warm-up to even just what Dr. has shown us?
It depends. It depends on how intense your routine is going to be. Let's say if we go straight into deep poses, right? So we want to make sure the warm-up is long enough to in order to warm up the muscles so that we prevent injury as well. If you're going into deep poses, which we don't do it with a regular client, right? We usually just start with a 15-minute warm-up, and then we do a 45-minute session of poses and exercise and breathing exercises and meditation. But other than that, 15-minute, 10-minute warm-up is usually sufficient for a general routine.
And then after that, you embark on a 45 minutes exercise with the different poses.
Yes, but again, like it would be neck rotations, arm rotations, leg rotations. We'll warm up the body fully, and then put you into advanced, deeper poses.
This is for beginners,
yes,
particularly.
Yes.
I mean, you have someone who has never done exercises,
right?
And yoga to even be specific,
right? And
you're telling them that they have to warm up for 10 to 15 minutes, and after that an entire 45 minutes of the different poses of yoga exercise. How practical is it, knowing fully well that again this could be someone who they're not flexible, so to speak, their core is not quite there yet, they've never done this exercise? How does this work?
So you see, what a 15-minute warm-up may be for me, it's not the 15-minute warm-up for you, and not a 15-minute warm-up for someone who's never exercised.
All right.
So as an instructor, I work with, let's say, somebody who's never exercised. That is my time to understand the mobility of this person and the ability. So I'll give them a warm-up as per them.
Okay.
Right? My 15-minute warm-up will be very different, and mom, who has been practicing for half her life, will have a very different warm-up. So that is practical, because we're not trying to make you do burpees and jumping jacks and then say run 2 kilometers and then come back. That's not the intensity. The intensity is kept a bit challenging for you.
So again, this depends, and it's tailor-made to someone in a particular client.
Yes.
Right, Daktari, we've definitely done the warm-up and the neck poses. So this again is just particularly for beginners, so to speak. Do we have more poses?
Yes, there are so many poses.
Okay.
Can we do?
Of course.
Yeah. Let's we do the triangle pose. First we do that palm tree pose. Inhale. Interlock your fingers. Then stretch your body, stand on toe.
So this pose is very beneficial for, you know, ladies these days. We have ladies who I'm sure you've heard of have varicose veins and your calves hurt. So this pose is very good for that. And what is also good for is increasing your height. So when I was younger, she would make me do it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So when you're, you know, especially for kids, it's very good to improve your height and then strengthen your legs.
And that's why we said, you know, this kind of exercises need to begin from the beginner stages.
Yes.
Because, you know, they say that by the time you hit 18, 19, you're actually done with growing.
Exactly.
So if you really want to increase your height from that toddler age, this is the good kind of poses to do for someone as such.
Yes.
So this poses is basically beneficial for the height bit?
Yes, and very, very beneficial for, you know, strengthen your calves and varicose veins, preventing and curing.
Okay.
Yes.
After how long then do you achieve flexibility?
I think it depends. You definitely progress with time. With, you know, with every month you will see a difference in your body. But it also depends on how dedicated you are. Are you practicing daily, or are you just going to a yoga class once a week and then you expect your body to improve? If you're practicing, let's say 5 times a week, and you're doing 30 minutes to 40 minutes on your own or in a yoga class, I think your body really shifts within a month. You see a significant change, and then after that, maybe 6 months, massive change, but you have to keep at it.
So basically, now what exactly are they doing?
So now they're doing different. So let's say you've done your warm-up, you've done your mobility, you've warmed up the neck, you've warmed up the arms. Now these are the poses they're doing. So this was the first pose, palm tree. The next pose they'll practice is going to be triangle. Yeah.
So this is now the triangle pose.
Yes. So your body is in a triangle, as you can see.
Yes.
Right.
Now keep your feet apart. Your right foot at 90 degree. Arms at the shoulder level. Breathe out, come down. Your right hand, right foot, look at your left hand.
It's the level of flexibility you need to have to achieve this.
So let's say if you're not flexible enough, right? So Daktari would actually bring her hand to her knee. Let's say she's not flexible. If you're not,
Okay.
Right?
Then you have to.
Yeah, you can do that. Right? It really just, again.
So if you're not flexible enough, it's up until the knee, up until you can actually get to that flexibility. I think that's why that question was important. After how long do you achieve that flexibility at the end of the day? So this triangular pose, what does it aid in? Because again, also I want us to understand the really implications of the impact it has to our bodies and also our health altogether, because we can keep saying it's important to do this kind of exercise, but if people don't know how it's going to benefit them, then they won't be feeling the need to do that. So this particular one, what does it aid? How does it help?
So triangle pose is very good for the mobility in your legs. As you can see, it's very, you can see the back of their legs. We can see it from here. The back of the legs are stretching, so very good for the mobility in your hamstrings, right? So this also, when you're mobile, you prevent a lot of injuries as well. You can see her right side is opening up really well. So it's again mobility for the shoulder, for the right side rib cage, also for the obliques. But most importantly, where she's going down, you know, she's going down on her left side. You see the contraction on the left side. So now that helps us with the improving digestion and detoxing, because when you go to on the opposite side, you're going down to the side of the liver. And you're activating the liver.
Wow.
Yes.
So this actually helps with that?
Yes.
This is interesting. So again, now they pose a bit, then they go to the next pose. All right. Now, before they continue, the breathing, because I think breathing is also important. Which kind of breathing should one be having while they're doing this kind of exercise? Because 45 minutes is not, you know, it's quite a significant amount of time. So which kind of breathing should you have and should you maintain as you're doing the different poses?
Deep breathing is very important. So we're not focusing on having you pant, or, you know, like you would in a cardio exercise. Here, what we're trying to do is just make sure that you are aware of the movement and you're practicing with awareness and safely. So they're breathing in and out deeply. That's the focus in this. That's the focus on the breath. And then when you're going towards the earth, you breathe out. When you're going towards the sky, you breathe in. That's the main principle. I think Dr. can show us another exercise.
Yes, yes. Can show us another pose.
Ardha Chakrasana. Inhale. Go back.
So very good for the spine, very good for just, you know, you're always on your laptop.
Which one is this one first?
Ardha Chakrasana.
Okay.
Right? So this is, the name is in Sanskrit. I don't know the English name.
But let's get the benefits of it.
Yes. So as you can see, it's really opening the front of the body, right?
Okay.
You're on your desk the whole day, you're cooking or you're slouching, or you're sitting. This is really good for just opening the body. Very good for the flexibility of your spine, the strength of your back. You can see her neck is toning, her chest is opening up, the stomach is opening up, the hips are pushing forward, which are very good for just giving you a front body stretch. Yeah.
And again, even as you do these poses, there's a way in which you're supposed to do it.
Yes.
There's a way in which you're supposed to position your body.
Yes.
How is it, I mean, doing it in the wrong way, what kind of impact does it have? Because, you know, people could actually be doing exercises, you could be trying to do the yoga, but the way in which you're doing it, you don't even get results.
Right.
In fact, instead of helping, it actually becomes, I mean, it brings a negative impact and the negative effects at the end of the day.
Yes. So my recommendation is always to do it under supervision of a trained and certified instructor, because you don't know what you're doing. You know, you might be thinking, like you said, you're doing the right thing, but you might actually end up injuring yourself, and then you blame the practice. But you know, you could be seeing a YouTube video.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that, especially during Corona.
I'm actually a victim of that.
Yeah. So people watch on YouTube and they start practicing, but like any other school of movement, even if you're at the gym or any other exercise you're doing, it's very important for you to learn from an instructor or work with an instructor so that they can guide you on how to perform the poses or the exercises correctly.
Then again, how do you balance the breathing with the poses? Because as you've mentioned, you don't want to really have to be pumping as you're doing it, like the cardio or even the intense physical exercises. But also, how do you balance the breathing with the different poses so that you actually have a good midpoint?
Right. So usually, for example, if they're, here they're going to do a forward fold. So when you're stretching, so Mom, could you please just take your arms up? So inhale, everybody inhale, stretch. So they'll inhale, go against gravity. And then exhale, fold, reach for your toes, right? So as you go towards gravity, you fold. And now when they're holding, as you go towards gravity, you exhale. And now as they hold the pose, they will breathe in and out. It's normal breathing. Your mind is always on your breath.
Okay.
That's how I like to teach it, because
so you need to really be concentrating on even how you breathe. Don't just be doing the poses.
Exactly. So this is why it's a different practice, because you're very aware of your body, your breath, and your mental state.
Okay. Yes. Meaning you need to again be very much alert as you're doing these poses.
Yes.
What about weight? I mean, you look at good number of people when they are exercising good number of times is because they want to lose weight in different areas, and even particularly for ladies is the tummy weight. You want to lose the tummy weight, you want to have the lean toned muscle, you want to have broadened hips a bit. So is weight a factor when you're doing yoga? Is it something to consider? In my experience, people have come to a healthy weight. They've not become anorexic, or you know, the picture they sell us that you have to be very skinny, size 0. That's not where you get with yoga. You get to a healthy, reasonable weight, right? But like any school of movement, every school of movement has its own goal. With yoga, that's not the goal. With yoga, the goal is to be fit, have your organs functioning well, have a more aware mind, be aware of your breathing, be aware of your emotional state. Be aware of just your surroundings. That's the goal with yoga, one of the goals with yoga. But it's not, the goal is not weight loss. For that, go to the gym. The goal is not weight loss. Now, on the flip side, for someone who's perhaps, if I could say, obese, is this one thing that would hinder them? Or when it comes to yoga, any person can do it, whatever kind of weight?
Yes. Whatever kind of weight.
So this one does not have an impact to your health?
Not at all. If anything, it improves your health. So somebody who's obese, they already probably have high cholesterol, they probably already have diabetes or hypertension. So yoga will help you reduce, it will help you manage your sugars better because we work on pancreas. Also manage your cholesterol better. But what it also does is it helps you, for someone who's obese and never moved, you're doing exercises very gently. So you're opening and training your body very safely. So you'll prevent injury in the long term.
Okay, so now, what exactly are they doing?
So now, between poses, we like to rest. So this
is just resting.
This is rest. You take a few breaths before you go into the next pose. Yeah. So Daktari will tell us.
So next is the gentleman pose. Your left foot.
That's another thing, to cross your legs.
And hold your feet. Your back should be stretched. Inhale and look in front. And try to bring your knees closer to mat.
So when you're focusing now, you see in this pose, you're trying to, your attention's on your knees. You're trying to bring your knees.
Just before we get there, Aseem, even before the attention being on the knees, I mean, as it is, just crossing your legs like that.
Yes.
Looks like it's not one of those easy things for everyone to do.
Yes.
And this actually falls under the beginner's exercise.
Yes.
Even in your own practice, because you're also an instructor, have you had issues with those who are beginning and they just can't be able to, fold their legs like that? Is there an alternative for that?
Yes.
Because again, also for most of the yoga classes that I've watched, this exercise does not miss.
Yes, because it's a very important exercise just to help you open the hips, right? So especially because we are never sitting like this in our daily lives.
On a normal time, you would be sitting this way.
So if you were, for example, a beginner, what I will do, let's say if Dr. Seema is the beginner, I will tell her to push her feet away from her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that way.
No. So just bring your feet here. No. Wait. Go back. Do the pose again. Yeah. And bring your feet here. So if she's a beginner, she doesn't have to come all the way close. However far she can reach. So you see, so that's how you work with a beginner. Yes.
So then what is the benefit of this kind of pose? Because like I said, it never misses on the classes that I've watched.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is the health benefit, particularly for this one?
So very good for opening the hips, very good for the mobility, very good for stretching your groin, right? And most importantly, it's a very good pose for both men and women in terms of the reproductive health.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good for avoiding any prostate issues as well. So that is the main. Those are the main benefits of this pose. Yes.
Also, in your line of practice, now that you've talked about good for men and women, particularly on this one, I mean, which kind of gender have you really seen most in yoga classes? Is it a balance? Is it only a preserve for women in terms of poses and exercises?
Yeah, I think I have had both clients, male and female. But yes, female, I do have a higher female clientele. And I think they're just more receptive, more open, and more aware of their health. Like they're more conscious about looking after themselves, I think. Right?
And looking good and feeling nice.
Yes.
So then after how long do you actually now start seeing results? Because whatever form of exercise anyone does, could be the intense physical fitness, could be yoga, any form, people always want to see results.
Yes.
And I think the downside is always that if I begin today, being on a Tuesday, I'm expecting next Tuesday to start seeing something.
Yeah.
So for yoga, how long does it take with all these benefits in the different poses that you've described for us?
Right. You see, in terms of flexibility and mobility, again, like I said, if you are practicing 5 times a week, 30 to 40 minutes minimum, right?
This is daily?
Daily. 5 times a week, you can skip a day or two, but make sure you're trying to do 5 times a week. You will see some change in your physical mobility and yourself as well, in your energy levels, in your sleep, in your appetite, and your metabolism from a month to 6 weeks. You will see a change, right? And obviously then you begin seeing different benefits as you keep progressing after a year or two. If you stay with the practice, then they're completely different benefits. But in terms of your mobility and your body, you start seeing changes within a month to 6 weeks.
Within a month to 6 weeks.
Yes.
So that means it does not take really long. So people can engage in this kind of exercise.
Yes.
It's easy to do.
Yes. The pose that you found very difficult on the first day is going to be like walk in the park maybe in the second or third week.
All right. So it gets better day by day.
Yes.
So right now they're just again resting and relaxing before they continue.
Yes.
I see mom smile with the various poses.
Yes.
So again, where do we go next? Because like you said, this is basically also for beginners. So it means you haven't really gone intense. This is just for beginners.
Yeah, so,
as we said.
Yes, so we are, for example, the same pose that they just did, we could have done it very differently for an advanced person, but again, they're different levels of the same pose. So now they're going to do a spinal twist.
This is now the spinal twist.
Yes, very good for the back, and very good to do it towards the end of the practice of your session, because in case you overused your back, or your back is a bit stiff, or you're just somebody who gets a really stiff back out of sitting on a chair all day, it's a very good pose for you.
So this is also good for those that usually have the 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, always sitting on your computer, on your laptop. This helps at least with the back.
Yeah, and if you're a senior citizen and you're sitting all day too, you could be with like me on the chair, and you can just do this. You can just twist. It's the same thing.
That is part of yoga.
Yeah, that is part of yoga.
Okay.
You just breathe out and you twist, and you do that. You go to the opposite side and you twist. Right. So it has the same benefits. Again, very beneficial for your liver and pancreas. Yes.
Beneficial for the liver and the pancreas. All right, then, do we have specific form of poses or exercises altogether for particularly pregnant women? Because you've talked about the beginners, the kids, the senior citizens, those that are just seated also on their chair, cannot move particularly. So what about pregnant women?
Yes, we do have something called prenatal yoga. Again, very popular, and this helps to develop the baby well and look after the mother during the prenatal phase. And yes, we have specific poses, again, to prepare the mother for birthing of the child. And yes, so you can start after the first trimester.
Okay.
We do not recommend doing any kind of yoga poses or exercises during the first trimester, but second and third, you can come to us, and we can guide you how to work on yourself. Yes.
So it means that when you look at yoga as a form of exercise, it actually cuts across different demographics.
Yes.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Different age groups.
Yeah.
Whatever even health condition you might be having, it cuts across. So then, do you really look at a medical report, particularly of a client, before you begin on the various forms of poses, or anything just goes?
Yes, I do. So because the practice also works on organs, we cannot do everything for everyone. So for example, if you have hypertension, there are poses I would not do with you.
Okay.
Right? And if you're asthmatic, there are different poses I wouldn't work on either. So most clients, I check with them. All clients, in fact. The first time I meet them, I do a proper consult, and I figure out what conditions they may have, and I work accordingly. And then we track the progress every 3 months, 6 months to a year. We keep going for those blood test results, and we see the progress. And in most cases, I've seen progress. I've seen clients heal from conditions like Graves' disease.
Just from doing yoga?
Yes, the yoga and nutrition.
Okay.
So this particular client of mine that I'm referring to has autoimmune condition called Graves' disease, where the body tries to attack the thyroid. So your thyroid goes hyper and hypo, and due to that, your heart rate goes up and down.
Okay.
So she could be sleeping and her heart would just start pounding.
All right.
And her condition right now is in remission. Yeah.
Fine. Well said. Well said. Now, as we just bring this conversation to a close, Aseem, what will be your call to action, particularly just for people to understand that this day exists and this kind of exercise and poses are good for their health?
My call to action to people would be, this is a very age-old, ancient practice, and it has stood the test of time over centuries. So I invite you to walk into a yoga class near you, go to a trained professional, address your issues, and try it out. Do not. It's not for just women. It's not for a particular religious sect. It's for everybody. If you have a body and you breathe, it is for you. So come for a yoga session and try it out for your own physical, mental, and emotional health.
Good place to end it.
Yes.
It is for everybody.
It is for everybody.
Everybody.
Yes.
All right, so I have been speaking to Aseem Sharma, who is a yoga instructor. Yeah, there she is, together with Dr. Seema Sharma, who is also a yoga instructor as well as a trainer with over 25 years just training and instructing on yoga. And this is where we bring this conversation on matters to do with yoga and its benefit for our our health to a close, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya. Thank you so much for watching. From me and on behalf of the entire team, Asante Sana. We do this again tomorrow. Have a beautiful Tuesday morning.